Yeah, absolutely. Always a big kid at heart. This is really stirring up the history buff in me. And just to hit home the importance of the four freedoms, I want you to see this quote here just above my head. It says, when Prime Minister Churchill and President Roosevelt proclaimed the promise of the four freedoms, they gave to the world an inspiring hope, but it was clothed in words. And to many, the meaning of those words was vague and just not real. And that's where Rockwell comes in. Kate, you're here with the museum. So tell me what we're looking at here in these magazines.
Right now we're looking at the Saturday Evening Post. These are from 1943, and these are how the Four Freedoms by Norman Rockwell originally appeared. So there's freedom of speech and freedom of worship.
And it looks like there's an accompanying article along with that incredibly powerful image.
Yes, they were combining narrative along with the image. Many of us are visual people, and so it really takes an image to latch onto rather than the words of a politician.
Yeah, absolutely. A picture is 1,000 words, right? And then on this side, we've got the freedom from want and the freedom from fear. And each of these, I mean, Norman Rockwell, of course, he's known for depicting these normal, natural, realistic settings. And so President Roosevelt asked him to try to make these freedoms more approachable.
Right, and certainly freedom from want is a setting that many Americans can relate to. It's a Thanksgiving dinner with a huge turkey. And then we also have other ones like freedom from fear.
That's going to be a harder one to depict, but this one is definitely a sweet picture.
It is. It's parents putting their children to bed at night, but if you'll notice, the father is holding a newspaper article that talks about bombings in England. So even though most Americans had this, there were many throughout the world that could not safely put their children to bed at night.
And this really was a time of war, so really hitting home these freedoms from fear and want, those were really hard things for people to really fully grasp. And so these images, that was kind of the point of the images, to help people embrace these freedoms.
Exactly, right.
So along this wall, we've got a lot of letters. Rockwell got a lot of mail. Some of it was fan mail, others really wasn't. They were kind of pointing out something that is pretty obvious probably to a lot of people in some of these paintings. It's not very diverse.
Exactly. The Saturday Evening Post did not allow for a lot of diversity in their magazine. And one of these is actually, well, it's praising Rockwell, saying that his work is great, but it's from the Bronx Interracial Conference, saying that a painting like Freedom from Fear does not necessarily apply to all Americans, especially people of color.
All right. And I think that is a good sort of tease to leave you hanging. In the next segment, we're going to take a look at how that letter and many others really influenced his work and how it began to change after the Four Freedoms and become more inclusive. This exhibit is open for the next couple of weeks. We're going to put more information on our website, WXYZ.com. The hours today?
9:30 to 5.
9:30 to 5. Come on down, bring your kids, or just come on your own. It is just fascinating, an incredible historical lesson, and incredible art. Back to you, Simon.